Big D Entertainment, in association with Dipsy Doodle Productions, presents The Dave Hawley Hour. Brought to you by The Sky Lounge and Tea, XL Chiropractic, Quality Nails, Ale Hop Brewery Tours, and Jesse Moffitt Entertainment. The Dave Hawley Hour features Sioux Empire Arts and Entertainment Conversations and has been recognized by the Sioux Falls Stage Awards with a special distinction for promoting the arts. A true lover of arts, entertainment, good food, and fun times, including an occasional Jack Daniels. Okay, so a few Jack Daniels. Here he is, Dave Hawley.
Welcome to the Dave McHawley Hour. It's St. Patrick's Day. Hey, welcome to the Dave Hawley Hour, and forgive me for that. I'm sure that I will use it at least once more in the show, that not so great Irish accent that I have, because I'm not Irish, but you know what? It's a day for everybody to be that, right? Anyway, to the usual stuff we do. Great conversation this week. We have a young actor and fellow podcaster, Miss Mo Hurley. She is something else. Then we're going to learn about a charity benefit art sale coming up April 1st as part of First Friday from April VanLeirsburg from the Van Art Studio as she makes another appearance on the show.
Time to grab your favorite beverage, lift it high, and toast it to being Thursday, a.k.a. Weekend Eve.
Hey, the weekend isn't around the corner, it's here!
So long, hump day and your frumpy way. We say hello to Thursdays with opening nights. The weekend is near and we can see the bright lights. Yes, Thursday, you're so hearty, we can't wait for Friday, so a day early, we start the party.
Well, officially, Sioux Falls is going to have the parade on Saturday for St. Patrick's Day, but today, the 17th of March, is St. Patrick's Day. So lift up that green beer, green milk. Ooh, that would be nasty, wouldn't it? Whatever you have that's green. As it's today a day that we can all be a little bit Irish and wear green. And if you don't wear green, remember you're going to get pinched. I have the feeling some people might actually be counting on that. The Weekend Eve Toast has been brought to you by Ale Hop Brewery Tours. No matter what brewery in Sioux Falls your favorite, Ale Hop Brewery Tours lets you and your friends choose any or all of the 8 local breweries. Plus, there's a handful that are very special this month because it's March Madness. Or in the case of the Downtown Brewers, it's Mash Madness, as they mash up the brews for you. So they will take care of you. They'll do the driving. To book a private tour, you have to go to alehopbrewerytours.com. Make sure to use the promo code MASHMadness22. That is MASHMadness22. Get 10% off your tour all month long. St. Patrick's Day, I would get in touch with them early right now and see if you can't get something hooked up for tonight. Or maybe you want to save it for Saturday night when all of Sioux Falls will be out having green beer. Plus, you know what else they do? They do Wine Wednesdays. Check that out. So again, if you want to get 10% off of your private tour, book it online, alehopbrewerytours.com. Use the code MASHMadness22. Get 10% off your tour all month long. You can also just hop on one of their public tours over the weekend at 605-777-2183. That is 605-777-2183. Ale Hop Brewery Tours, where micro fans meet micro brews. Honorable mention. All right, usually honorable mention I have for something that's, brought a smile to my face. Well, it did bring a smile to my face, despite the heavy subject that it ended up being. But honorable mention this week goes out to Monstrous Little Theater's production of Rabbit Hole. Woo-hoo-hoo. Yeah, the first act, plenty of laughter taking place, a little bit in the second as well, but it was a heavy, heavy subject, and it was pulled off monstrously well. Sorry, bad pun, but I really wanted to just let you know that Monstrous Little Theater is one of those groups that is a small theater company. and they're finding ways, and they're finding different places to have shows and so forth. This one happened to be at Remedy Brewing, and awesome. And so thank you so much for all the fine skills Monstrous Little Theatre puts out there, as well as all the other small theater groups. All right, so coming up later in the show, April VanLeirsburg from Van Arts Studio is going to be telling us about a charity event that they have going on April 1st. It's not an April Fool's joke, but it's going to be fun regardless. And then coming up in just a moment, a fine young actor and fellow podcaster, Miss Mo Hurley. Next on the Dave Holly Hour.
Hi, my name is Jesse Moffat, and I'm not a piano player. I'm a comic magician and hypnotist. I've been performing for over 20 years. I've performed at many events, corporate events, holiday parties, post-prom parties, graduation parties, state and county fairs, festivals, just about anything you can imagine. The funniest thing about the Magic Act is that I use a ton of audience participation, and that can make things really interesting. Put it down the front of your shirt. Stop being so, my hand won't follow. The best thing about the hypnosis show is that the volunteers and their imaginations really make it a blast.
Holy crap, dude, did you see what you just did? You could do that possibly to girls.
For booking information, go to Jesse Moffat Entertainment on Facebook. That's JESSEMOFFITT. Or call 605-929-0964.
With him, every day is a holiday. Once again, here is Dave Holly.
Welcome back, everybody. I know, I should just record this part, shouldn't I? It's always a pleasure to bring you great creators here on the Dave Holly Hour. Those that are on stage, those that are in sound booths, those that are in lighting booths, or whatever they may be doing, recording, writing. It's all great. It's all creative. And we love to talk about arts and entertainment here. Now, right before we started this interview, this next guest said, well, you've been busy, haven't you? Well, she should talk. That's the pot calling the kettle black. Mo Hurley, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you.
Glad to have you along because you have been busy. Let's see. How far back can you go where you weren't involved in a show?
Oh, it's been a bit.
Yeah, it has.
Yeah, I've been lucky to have a couple in a row here.
Yeah,
lately.
some big ones. And then especially this last one you were in, 39 Steps.
Yes.
The Alfred Hitchcock play was just phenomenal. There were there were some people that came off or came onto the stage from off stage just to help and be a seated person.
Right.
But otherwise, there were four of you.
Mm-hmm.
And you and Jake Cox were what they called Clown 1 and Clown 2.
Yes.
Which meant that you played a bajillion parts.
Right.
How was that?
Ooh, it was fun. It was something I hadn't done before. Definitely a challenge. And it was fun to play off of Jake because he was very much game for the quick switches
right.
and all the different wild dialects and accents. And he was just running from the get-go. So that was fun. That helped a little bit to kind of get into those different characters.
You know, the first thing that I noticed and said to my wife as we're watching, I said, the blocking on this thing had to take hours.
It did. It was very
intricate.
Wow.
Because, I thought of the times where you're switching places and then at the same time, like switching coat jackets and so forth.
Right.
It's like, that's awesome. And it was done so well.
Oh, that's all Matt. So Matt Nesmith was the director. And he had a very nice process for it. He'd do beat by beat after we did the initial run through of blocking. We would just work one scene in high detail, and then we'd go on to a second one, and then go back and do the two together, and then go back. And so you got 2 full runs in high detail with each scene until he felt, okay, that one's a little more solid. We can work on another scene now. But yes, there's one train scene in particular. That was the most challenging one that had the quickest changes. And a lot of it too, you're just depending on the other clown to have all their characters together, and so we each helped each other out, I think, at different points.
I can imagine so, but it was very entertaining. Loved it. It was fantastic. But I want to tell you something that other people say about you, and then I want to get your reaction to it. So first of all, about a month or so back, the comic Casey Costek, who you have acted with, was on, and I was talking about you, talking about everything you have going on, and he says, "Oh, and she's incredibly funny."
Oh.
I said, "Well, really? I haven't seen that part of her yet." Then got to see it in 39 Steps, at least in terms of just the acting ability to be comic. And then when we came out after the opening night of 39 Steps and all of the cast had come out, came over to congratulate you, and then I went over to Marisa Moser, and her first thing was, "I keep telling everybody, Mo Hurley is a force to be reckoned with."
Oh, that's so sweet.
So what do you think of those compliments?
Oh, I appreciate them. They both speak too highly, though. They're very, they're very kind.
Well, I have a feeling you're being humble right now.
No. I think they're just very supportive. That's kind of what I like in particular about the community here, the arts community.
True.
Everyone just does such a great job encouraging each other, building each other up, and yes.
Yeah,
Casey.
that's very true. I say it so often, practically every show, that it's a collaborative arts community. It is not a competitive. Everybody still competes. They want to do their best. They want to get as much into the door as they can and so forth. But still, everybody's willing to help everybody out.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, so I think that's more a testament to that than to me, but I really appreciate it.
What got you into theater? What was the spark?
Let's see. I did a little growing up in elementary school, and that was just a fun way to connect with people and to make friends. I'm a little more reserved and quieter, but theater was a chance to kind of let loose and express myself without that feeling of being on display necessarily. It was just doing characters and having fun. Then high school, it kind of became, that was my group, was the theater world. So that was kind of what I focused in on in high school, and did a lot of shows that way and met all my closest friends through theater. And did a little in college, I'd say, but not as much. High school is where I really hit it hard. And then I had a couple year break, and then the Sioux Empire, now the Premiere Playhouse, did Great Gatsby. Okay. And I like that story a lot. That's one of my favorites. And so I thought that would be fun to dance in that and be involved. And it kind of led now to, again, having my main friend group be from
back to the theater.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think it is about theater that draws people so close?
Oh, I think it's the storytelling and the communal aspect. There's something powerful about telling stories with each other and in different mediums, but theater is something special. It's live. You feel engaged with the audience, with each other, and it feels very much a communal event, I think, more so than some other forms. Well, in different respects, but theater for sure. That's been something I found that people just like telling stories. It's important to do, and it's fun to be a part of. So, what's the best role you've had? Ooh, this last play was fun. I think being able to play multiple roles. I kind of lucked out in high school and got to play some fun ones. Such as? As Kate in Taming of the Shrew. Okay. So that was a challenge for me. And let's see, Anne Sullivan in Miracle Worker. So again, a little more heavier. Right. Those are more dramatic roles. But I think comedy, I've learned a little bit that the character actress is more my speed, where it's kind of the off the wall, kind of goofy side character that I really enjoy playing the most. So 39 Steps was just a collection of those characters all in one. So that was really fun. Okay, but that's just one thing that you've done of late.
You've also been in some other shows and have done well in all of them. But this obviously was a bigger part.
Yes.
Take us through, what it was like being in some of the musicals and then coming to this.
Oof.
And what, like how it varied in terms of the structure, how it varied in terms of rehearsal schedules and things along that line for you.
Sure. So the show just before this was Christmas Carol. So just size-wise.
Yeah, cast of 56. Yeah.
Right. And it felt, I would say, 20 or 30 stage crew and people involved behind the scenes with that show. So it was 70
Massive,
or 80.
Yeah.
Yes, it was a very, very big group. So size-wise, that was a huge undertaking, and you felt like you were a part of something very big. And the rehearsal schedule was, as someone who was more in the ensemble for that role, a little less rigorous. You had kind of your scene, your set aside, especially Christmas Carol was very segmented. So a lot less demanding, I think, on my end for that show. I can't say the same for Tom Roberts or any of the ghosts in that one.
Yeah.
They had a very hefty role. But I was joking with Marisa, who was also in Christmas Carol and 39 Steps, just the dressing rooms where we couldn't even squeeze in our hoop skirts in Christmas Carol. And then it was just the two of us sitting in there this last show. We're like, oh, this is quiet. We have the whole counter
Give me
to
the chaise
ourselves.
lounge, huh?
Right. Yeah. So that was kind of fun. But just, I think relationship-wise, it's a little bit harder the larger the show is to connect with everyone. You have kind of moments with your scene partners where you can maybe grab drinks with them or you meet with them more often. But then there are people who aren't in your scenes who you don't necessarily get as close to. So a lot of really neat people were involved in those bigger musicals that I'd have passing conversations with, but
Right.
I felt we didn't quite have the opportunity to really connect. So shows like 39 Steps, where it's just a handful of you, you get very close. You do a lot of socializing as your small group. So there's benefits both ways. It's fun to have that range of all new people in a big show. But yes, this having a smaller cast is so fun. And it was from one to the other, my largest cast I've ever been a part of to my smallest cast. So that was
The
neat.
extremes in just a few months.
Yes.
So is there a role out there that you're dying to play?
Ooh, I would really like to play Nurse Ratchet.
Oh,
over
yes.
The Cuckoo's Nest. So I don't know. We'll see if I have an opportunity for that at some point. But I had kind of a taste. I was the aggressive nurse at the very end of Streetcar Named Desire when Augie did that play. And it was just brief, but she was very, very rough with Blanche and just mean. And I don't know, it was a lot of fun. I think. So that's one I kind of have my eye on. Maybe in one of the next Christmas Carol iterations, I'd like to be the ghost of Christmas Past.
Oh,
So,
that'd be fun.
yeah, I think so.
I'd like to see that. What are the types of roles you like? You mentioned that you kind of like the comic role, but now you just mentioned the fact that playing the bad guy.
Right.
Hey, let's just go to this and hammer away at it.
Yeah, I would say something that might be kind of just a surprising role. So I really like the comedic roles, like you say, just making people laugh, but also something that might not be expected of me. So something a little more challenging.
So what do you think you bring to a role then?
Oof.
Besides the comedy?
I think...
Or what part of your comedic side do you think really shows through?
I think maybe thoughtfulness, just being reflective, really sitting with what about this in my delivery, in my interactions, expressions, what would make this line hit the best. So just taking time. I think comedy is a lot more complex than you realize until you're doing it. And that's rough when you have something that you're feeling solid about and it just falls flat. Like, ooh, that's hard, because drama, it's a quieter reaction. You don't know immediately if you're succeeding or not, but comedy, you do. You know, when you've just flopped, the failure is immediate. So it's definitely a fun process. And I think comedy can be more collaborative too. Just in my experience, this last play, the director or a cast member will say, it would be funny is if you said that as you're leaving, or if you said that in this way, and you kind of bounce ideas off each other, and you say it jokingly a line once, and you think, hey, that might be how we do it.
That is fun when that happens. I remember saying that in an interactive dinner theater that I was a part of, and I was the Jewish lawyer. And it was Finnegan's Farewell, so it's all, everybody else is Irish. Mm-hmm. And there's one, after I've just said a line, one character comes on to say, well, it's something like kind of being like an au jus. And I said, did you just call me an au jus? And we went with it after that. That just happened in rehearsal just for fun, and then it takes off.
Right.
And so that is fun when that happens, and, like you said, so great that people help each other out in this.
Definitely.
Yeah, and make that go. So are there any things coming up for you on stage?
Not at the moment. So Cabaret is the next big show Premiere Playhouse is doing, and I can't sing, so I'm kind of steering clear of musicals. But I'm going to focus a little bit on that podcast, Fear Falls. I'll kind of work a little bit on that.
You stole my next thing. I was just going to say, well, that's good that you have a little time off because you started a podcast.
Yes.
Fear Falls. Mm-hmm. Oh, my. Is it true you're actually writing every single episode?
I am.
You are. So this is all out of the imagination of Mo Hurley.
Yes.
So tell us how you first imagined the podcast then.
I was writing, a short play, and within the play, there are callbacks, kind of flashbacks to a monster radio show, and elements of that within the play. And I thought that was the most fun to write, kind of the little bits of narrative for that play within a play. I thought, well, I could just make that a show, and it'd be very kind of low commitment. I could go month by month.
Right.
And it'd just require one actor at a time for 30 or 40 minutes. So it's low commitment and time on their end too. And it's just something I've always been a fan of, kind of Goosebumps and Twilight Zone and kind of the spooky, where it's not terror or horror, but it's just kind of that
got that suspense.
Yes, yeah.
Were there any old shows? I mean, you talked about movie-wise and so forth, but did you go back and listen to any old radio shows or anything to get a feel for it?
Yes. So Ray Bradbury, I listened to a lot of his
Top
stories.
Notch.
Oh, definitely. So it's kind of neat. There's some podcasts that have the original recordings of those, and then some that represent them. So they'll take stories from that time and present them again with new actors. And so I kind of listened to a range of those. And then there's a current one. It's called Camp Monster, and it's REI, which is kind of a camping supply company. And so they do, more lore, historical, like Sasquatch and those different regional monsters who are already fully formed, but they'll tell kind of stories about those. And I just enjoyed listening to those a lot, and I thought it'd be fun to do something that's kind of Midwest based too. So it's very much
so they're all set in area, well, not area, but regional for sure towns, correct? Yeah.
And so I kind of like that feel where it's not necessarily the coasts, and it doesn't always come into play in a huge way, but I wanted it to feel familiar and kind of suburban and something that you'd recognize listening to it in the Midwest, and kind of pulling inspiration from different actual landmarks or kind of shops or companies here that people would recognize and have it feel.
Do you ever get any questions from people that have listened and say that they've lived in these particular towns and say, I don't recall that story?
I haven't yet, no. I think, I have to grow my listening crowd a little bit beyond the 12 or 14 for that.
Come on.
But no, not at this point yet. But
okay, because I have the feeling that would be really funny. That somebody would say, well, I grew up in Chippewa Falls, and I don't recall that happening.
Right. Like, this seems wrong.
How many episodes now?
So there are 4 out. I'm working on the 5th for this month. And so, Yeah, I have kind of I have the year mapped out.
Okay.
With just the general.
Right. You're ready to go then if you've gone to that extent.
I'm hoping so. More concepts.
I'm just happy right now that I've booked through April.
No, that's great. You have a lot more demanding schedule too, doing it as often as you do. But yeah, I have just loose concepts for the months coming up. And then I kind of month by month will go and flesh them out, each one.
Are you giving any hints as to what this one will be about or a title?
Sure. This one is the Quarry Dweller. So it's kind of having to do with a foundry that's right next to a town quarry. Okay. And kind of a creature.
Any particular town?
This one is... I don't specify, but it's kind of Sioux Falls-ish, I'd say. That's my default if I don't have one place in mind. But I'm excited for this one. The Sean Shannon, who is on stage crew and acting, very involved. He is going to voice this next one.
Yeah, and let's see. The two people we mentioned earlier, Casey's done one for you, and Marisa has done one for you. And I'm trying to remember who
so then
most recent.
Amanda McMillan did Box Office Banshee. Was our February episode. And, I'm thinking back. Let's see.
But they're fun, and you have to have a blast writing that. And I guess when you talked earlier about, some of the characters that you would like to play, like Nurse Ratched, and then you have this horror type genre, not horror per se, but suspenseful and so forth. Now I see where it's all coming together, Mo.
Oh no. The mask is coming off. No, I don't like anything, like I said, straight out scary, but that's always just, it's kind of fun to do that sinister, kind of spooky suspense.
So you've mapped it out for a year then. What are some of the other themes without, spilling the beans, obviously? Well, no.
Sure.
Pre-promo everything. Go ahead.
I think this next month will be Hill City Howler. So a solo traveler who's out in a kind of Black Hills type environment. There's a creature who intrudes on her solo trip out there. I want to do something with a symphony. So that one is a much looser concept, but I know the setting for that one. Let's see. I have one I really want to do this summer is kind of a retelling of Bradbury's The Whole Town is Sleeping and tell that in a new creative way, kind of a fun summertime suspense story. So I'm really looking forward to that. And then a fall one I'm doing was inspired by a trip gone wrong with my mom in Colorado.
Oh, no.
Yes. We wanted to take a quick trip to a reservoir, Rampart Reservoir, in Colorado. And we went out. It was just going to be a couple hour, just take a photo, take a walk, and come back. And we started making our way across, or around rather, and kind of underestimated the length of this lake. It had all these fingers that went out in all directions that took us way further out than we anticipated. And we were there the entire day. The night was falling and everyone was leaving. And we felt like every time we rounded again another finger, we were still just halfway from our car. We could see across. And eventually a couple kayakers, some college kids from Georgia, they took us across. We yelled out.
What do Mo Hurley and a couple of college kids kayaking from Georgia have in common?
Ooh, so I thought, I could recreate that anxiety and stress from thinking, are we here forever? Is this where we are now? So I'll have to channel that into a spooky story, I think.
All right. So we get an idea of how you kind of, create or get into your characters on stage. Is it similar when you write?
Oh,
as you create a character?
That's interesting. I think I am a little more plot based to start story wise, and the character kind of comes in afterwards, if that makes sense. And so little details will come up. I'm like, well, that would be interesting if this person were really afraid of depths. How would the quarry change if that were a character trait? And so I think it kind of develops from the story rather than starting with a character. But definitely something I kind of sit with, and as I write it, what would complicate things a little bit more and make the story a little more interesting if I were to change such and such about a character. So definitely something that comes in through the process, just takes some sitting with to think over.
How long front to end does it take you to put it together from the story to actually getting the podcast produced and uploaded?
I'm getting a little quicker with the technical pieces of it. Writing always is the biggest time commitment for me, and I always think it'll be shorter than it is. So it's, I'd say, several hours of writing and thinking over, and a couple days to get it together and to make little kind of marketing pictures and advertising for it to tease the episodes coming
True.
up.
But I wouldn't say I didn't realize that part when I started mine. I didn't realize how much you had to do.
Oh, same here. The extent to
let's see. Did I cover Facebook? Did I cover Instagram?
Right.
Yeah.
All those pieces.
It definitely takes some work, but I'm glad you're putting in the work, and I'm looking forward to even more out of Mo Hurley. I just have the feeling that it's going to be Mo.
Oh, thank you. I like that.
Because you are very talented on stage. You're a very talented writer and creator. Is there something you're thinking of in terms of like what the best job for me would be?
I just want to try a little of everything. So I would like to direct something, and I would like to keep writing. And so that's kind of...
Well, you hinted at that the idea for Fear Falls came out of a play you were writing.
Yes. And so originally I thought sending that maybe to a smaller company here in Sioux Falls. Like you said, there's so many so many groups here that do just great work. So seeing if maybe one of them would be willing to stage it. And also the Premiere Playhouse is doing a new play festival.
Yes.
So maybe try my hand at that.
I think you should.
Well, thank you.
The things I always like to end with, when you are not part of the arts and entertainment scene, what do you like to be entertained by?
Ooh, I like biographies of comedians, just reading that, watching comedy, I'd say. So a little mix of that. Show-wise, shows like Better Call Saul, Breaking Bad, those are kind of my go-to. My family's big into Yellowstone.
Oh,
so kind of.
As are we. Wow.
Oh, so good.
How about 1888 then?
I have not gotten into that yet. I want a time where I can watch a few in a row. Are you enjoying that?
Yeah.
Oh.
Incredible. Great writing.
I'm sure.
Writing. Yeah. But then besides that, any other hobbies?
Ooh, writing is my go-to. Walking, that's not a lot to that, but yeah, sports-wise, not as
well,
much.
Except for one thing, sports-wise.
What's that?
You're a Denver Bronco fan.
Oh, yes.
Yes. You get extra credit there.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, special connection you got.
That we do. All right, Mo, it's been a pleasure. Certainly appreciate you spending some time on the Dave Holly Hour.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you for having me.
All right, we'll be back with more of the Dave Holly Hour in just a moment.
Ladies, when it's time to give your nails some love, get that extra special treatment from Quality Nails on South Minnesota Avenue in Sioux Falls. Manicures and pedicures that look great and make you feel fantastic. Zaya and Tony provide professional care for your hands and feet, whether you just want the basics or an extra special look with added flair. Oh, and guys, it's okay to treat yourself too. Quality Nails. Call for an appointment. 605-334-1463.
Dr. Perry Langston and Dr. Corey Tooney know excellence is in you. That's why they provide you with excellent care at XO Chiropractic, improving your overall health in spirit, body, mind, and will. Get results the natural way. Arrange a consultation. 605-332-9235 or exokairos.com. Excellent care for excellent people. XO Chiropractic, located at 4309 South Racket Drive in Sioux Falls.
Time for more arts and entertainment talk on the Dave Holly Hour.
Welcome back, everybody. Sure, I'm going to say it. It's always a pleasure to have great people on to talk about arts and entertainment in the Sioux Empire. And this time, we welcome back to the program from Van Arts Studio, Van Arts Gallery, April VanLeirsburg. How are you?
I'm great. How are you, Dave?
If it were any better, I'd be twins.
Yay!
And I'd get twice as much done.
Yeah, exactly.
We all have busy times, but we really want people to take note and just come out first Friday, April 1st. Because that's when we talked last. That's kind of when you were hoping that the gallery showings and so forth would come back, would be on a first Friday, but springtime.
Yes.
And it looks like Mother Nature actually might give us springtime.
Oh, I'm really hoping so.
Yeah, so we're going to knock on wood. In fact, it's wood table, isn't it? Here at RY Bar. And this happened to work out just right because the last time you were on, a couple months ago, you, at the end of the interview, said, you know what, I think we really need to do a benefit show. An arts benefit for a charity.
Yeah.
And you started saying, maybe you should put that on your Facebook and so forth. I hadn't even gotten around to it. And our mutual friend, Edward Ike, started the ball rolling.
He did.
Yes. It didn't roll quite as quickly as he wanted.
Yeah.
But then finally what he said was, I'm going over to DakotAbilities, and I'm going to do my spin art with them.
Yeah.
And so people that go to DakotAbilities have been spinning art now with Edward for a week and a half or so.
Yeah, he's put in a lot of time.
Yeah, he has. And he's been showing off some very cool pictures of what it's come about. So you have to be happy about that.
I am. That all came together the way I wanted it to.
Yeah, and it just, it was kind of funny how it all worked. And then including the fact that you're able to be on the podcast this week because somebody else had a cancellation.
It worked out perfect. I was going to call you about this, and then you called me.
I said, well, you know what? Because the person that had to reschedule was like, well, it's okay. Don't worry about it. Because I knew I had a few in the back pocket that probably would be willing to jump on as quickly as possible.
Absolutely.
And what's it going to mean to have a charity event for you?
Yeah,
I mean, it sounded like it was pretty high up on your priorities last time.
Yeah, when we did talk, I was looking for ideas and charities to support, and there's so many good ones out there. Mm-hmm. So that was tough. I had put something out on the Facebook page that we have to see what people were thinking, and quite a few people got a hold of me, and this one just really spoke to me. I mean, I think Edward's pretty invested, and he cares a lot about it, and it shows because he's put in a ton of time.
That he has.
And a ton of effort. Mornings before he has to work all day, and the people doing the art are just having so much fun. They're just really enjoying it. It's meant a lot to them. So we're really excited. I think it's really important to give back to the community. I need that myself. I think everybody needs a little of that, and so we're really hoping that Sioux Falls kind of rallies behind this cause and shows up. And, we've got 32 art pieces that
32
were done.
Now. Wow.
Yeah, so
that's
a lot.
Incredible.
So all these people are pretty excited about what they accomplished. And we really want to reward them and have a good turnout.
Yeah, that'd be great. And, of course, the thing to talk about is the fact that it is a charity benefit.
Yes.
It's not just that we're showing it off.
Yes.
They're going to get some money out of this.
Yeah, all the proceeds go to DakotAbilities. So Edward donated his time, and of course I'm donating my time, but we also donated the materials. So any proceeds go straight to them.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's get out there and put a few zeros behind everything on that.
I would really like that.
Yeah, that would be great, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm happy that it came about. And the fact, because I've got a long-standing thing with DakotAbilities based off where I've worked full-time.
Okay.
They have quite a few people that have worked at Citibank over the years.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, in fact, they even had their own little office out there.
Okay.
So
you're very familiar.
There's probably a few that have done some art that I'm going to know who they were.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that. But I think this is a real good feel-good moment.
Yeah,
especially
definitely.
as the sun's out longer now. So
yes,
come out on April 1st. It's a Friday. It's a first Friday. So
it's April Fool's, but we're not fooling. Come
exactly.
on down.
Yeah, see, he even beat me to that. I was going to say something about April Fool's, but you're
I'm a
too
jokester
quick.
too. Yeah.
So has Edward told you about what it's been like for a learning experience both for him as well as those at DakotAbilities?
A little bit. We've talked a few times. He's busy and I'm busy, but we have stayed in touch. I know one thing that, usually he has a lot more time. And I told him, we gotta get this going. You're going to have to be quick because there's so many artists and we need to get the pictures done. We need to get them hung. So he had to learn to ramp up the speed.
Okay.
I know that for sure. And I think he's used to, when you're an artist, you're used to having all the control, and doing the process start to finish. And not that he's not great working with other people, because he really is. But he had to learn to work with all these people and all the different personalities and so forth, and abilities. Different people had different abilities. So,
well, in what he's already posted online in social media, it looks like, first of all, it looks like it's very intriguing. Second of all, you see the smile in everybody.
Oh, they're so happy. They're having such a good time.
And that's, what we want. Obviously we want art to invoke all sorts of feelings and so forth. But when you see people that maybe don't have an opportunity to do something otherwise, that, they can proudly show off their artwork. Yes. And just those smiles and grins, they're huge.
Yeah. And, none of them have had a chance to be in any sort of an art show. So they're all pretty pumped about that.
Yeah.
And we just really want Sioux Falls to turn out. Just turn out and make these people feel good about what they've accomplished.
That's going to be fun. No doubt about that. So are you hoping to do this more often?
Yes. So the next show is also a charity event.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad we're talking then.
Yeah.
Do tell.
Okay, so that one, there's a helpline 211.
Oh.
And there's a survivors group. It's for domestic abuse, domestic violence, sexual abuse, and sex trafficking. And it's survivors of that. But they're putting together a package for the 211 line so that there's a resource when people of that specific issue call in, can be given specific tools to guide them through getting through that and surviving.
Excellent. Yeah.
So we're excited about
I know that, when 211, when it first came out, we all kind of thought of it just as quote unquote the helpline.
Yeah.
You call up 211 and say, I'm wondering, where do the Kiwanis clubs meet and so forth. They still have all that. But it's grown so much.
It has.
And that is along with, mental health issues.
Yes.
Surviving abuse has become such a huge topic.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, truly. Exactly. Regrettably that it has.
Yeah.
But it's nice that we do have those, not just, the opportunities for people to call someplace and get help, but also the facilities around that 211 can lead them to.
Absolutely. And, if you think about abuse of that sort, it's hard enough to get the courage to call. So if you feel like you're able to talk to somebody that completely understands and is a survivor, you're probably more likely to reach out for help. So this one is something I'm really excited to promote, because I really think it'll help a lot of people.
Yeah, no doubt about that. So that'll be a great benefit as well. Now, will that go to individual groups, or you've said something about this is more so just a collective type?
Yes, so we're going to be getting art pieces donated. So I'll be reaching out to the artists I know, but I also have a lot of people that I know that have remodeled and have really great art that no longer fits in their space, that they're willing to, as a tax-free donation, donate to this cause. And so we're going to have everything there, all kinds, all styles, all types. So I'm hoping that appeals to every market and every interested party.
Yeah. Oh, my. I tell you what, things are just kind of cooking right now for you, aren't they?
Yeah.
So what about regular art gallery shows that you'll have coming up?
We'll be back to that in June.
In June?
Yep.
All right.
And I'm actually going to show my stuff.
You are?
I am.
How many pieces?
Well, I'm going to go collab with another gal, and she has a lot. She has about 30 pieces. So I'm probably going to put in about 10.
Okay.
So I've been working. I just got really, really inspired over the winter. I think I needed that break from the art studio and just a little time to myself. And I've been painting up a storm.
So those 10 pieces, then, did you kind of have to jury yourself on it?
No, I just...
As the art gallery owner.
Yeah, it's when I first started the art gallery, I couldn't paint for a little bit. It kind of messed with me. Like, just seeing everybody else's stuff, and it's a little intimidating, and I felt like I don't know. It just kind of changed the schematics of painting for me. And now that I had a little break, I'm just doing my thing. And if people like it, great. If they don't, well, that's okay too.
All right. So the 10 pieces of yours that you are going to show, how many did you have that you chose from?
These are all brand new.
Right.
All brand new paintings. So,
but did you have other brand new paintings too that you said, nah, I don't know about, or it was just a 10?
Certainly. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
when you were talking about painting up a
worst
storm.
Critic. Yeah. I mean, I'm already looking at some of this stuff going, but I've gotten great feedback. So I'm just going to go for it. Heck with it. Yeah. And I don't think I'm going to tell people which ones are mine. Then maybe I won't be so nervous. You know? We'll see.
Yeah. You've heard of paint sales? Well, this is a different type of sale. Yeah, it's sales of paintings.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, look forward to seeing that too.
Yeah.
And so how is it in the art scene right now? Are we seeing, because, this is not the only benefit type show that's come about recently.
Yeah.
But are we just seeing more art being created regardless?
I feel like we are. And of course, I'm more immersed in it than I was before I started the gallery. But I feel like there's a ton of people creating. I think there's a lot more places showing. For example, one of my artists that was hanging got him into Pilates. And boy, I don't know if you've been in Pilates lately. It is filled with art. Yeah. Just filled. So I think more places are hanging art, I feel like. So obviously people are out there producing. And so, yeah, I think it's really taken off in Sioux Falls.
Including our 660 square foot apartment.
You guys just keep collecting pieces?
We get a few here and there. And
yeah.
And, the nice thing is, we've got originals, but we've also got, some originals that are prints.
Yes.
And we've got photographs, and it collects.
Well, thanks for supporting the art community.
Well, that's the thing, and there's a great pride in that.
Yeah.
When you start to do that.
Yes.
Because it's easy, and maybe this comes with maturity. As you've been around as a couple together longer, things like that. But when you're fresh out of college and so forth, the art that you're going to get is probably going to be a print.
Yes.
If you're even that high class.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or maybe a big photo or something.
Yes.
And hopefully not all Elvis velvet with bright paint on it to be shown with a black light.
Right.
But, it does progress. And I guess that's been what we've enjoyed. Is just getting to actually know artists.
Yes.
And to be able to have their work in our home, and then to be able to tell others about it when other people come to our house and say, oh, yeah, well, we actually met her at Pilates.
Yeah.
She was a waitress there.
Yeah.
And they had her art hanging there. And that's how we got the first piece. And then we went to her senior show at Augie.
Yeah.
And it was like, well, those are cool. Let's get 3 of those. And it just keeps growing. And, there will be a cutoff point just simply because of wall space.
Right. But it's an excellent conversation piece. A lot better than something from Home Goods.
Yeah, very true.
There's no story there.
Yeah. It's like, okay, that was Super 8 circa 1984.
Right.
That you got there? Yeah. So that is fun. And to be able, and I would assume then, obviously from your point of view, both A, as an artist, and B, as a gallery owner, that's got to give you great pride, too.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
What was the first painting you ever did that somebody hung and bought from you?
It would be family. I didn't sell it. I gave it away. In fact, I have some remorse about that because I did a lot of art and gave it all away. Oh. I gave it all away. I'd give it as, well, I was broke too, so it'd be Christmas or birthday presents. Yeah. So some of my favorite pieces are at my family's house. So I didn't sell paintings for a long, long time. That just wasn't on my radar, and I'm not sure it still is. If I could, I would just give it all away just because I think people enjoy it, and it. This whole gallery we don't make any money at the gallery. This is all a passion thing. So if I could, everybody wanted a painting, I'd give them one.
Right.
But, you've got time invested, you got materials. Yeah. So
rent.
Yeah. You've got to make a little money. But yeah, that's never been a big thing to me, the selling of art. And that doesn't, I think all artists do deserve to get paid for their work.
True.
But I just personally.
Well, and we've talked about this in the past, and I've I talk about it a lot when it comes to arts and entertainment, and people that don't understand what goes into that. And I use my dear friend Elizabeth Hunstead as an example of that. When somebody's with us and they're kind of wondering, maybe how much she's getting paid for that event and so forth.
Right.
It's like, well, first of all, none of your business.
Yeah.
I might have an idea, but none of my business to tell you.
Right.
But what I will tell you is, okay, she's entertaining you. You're happy about that. You're having a good night. You're enjoying it. Before we even get to that point, let's talk about, did you see her haul in that piano? Okay.
Right.
Did you see what else she had to haul in for that piano? She had to put it on a stand.
Yes.
That stand and the piano both came in bags. And she has speaker stands, and she has all these cables. She has a microphone.
Yes.
She has a little seat that she sits on so she can play and make you a happy person being entertained.
Right.
I said, let's
big picture.
Yeah, let's start with just the bag that stand for her piano came in.
Right.
Probably $100 or something. And she might have gotten a great deal on it for $75 or something someplace. Right. Then let's move up to that stand.
Yeah.
And talk about the hundreds of dollars in that. And then when we get to the piano, let's put another zero on the backside of everything that we're talking about.
Absolutely.
Then let's consider the fact that she's been playing piano and singing for how many years, and how many practice hours and rehearsal hours did she have during that time span to be good enough that a business says, hey, let's hire Elizabeth Hunstead to make our patrons happy.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, what's a person's time worth?
Exactly.
And maybe the answer is 20 years of experience is what part of the price.
Yeah. and I think you have to consider that no matter what, whether you're looking at a piece of art, even if you're, sitting there thinking about becoming an artist in one way and going, well, I wonder how much I could charge. And, you have to start figuring things in.
Yep.
As to what your time is worth. What is that value?
A lot of artists have that question about pricing.
Yeah.
That comes up almost every show. How do I price this?
Yeah. And the thing that I always think of as well is especially if you have a full-time job.
Yeah.
And no, it's not, quote unquote, just a little hobby.
Right.
It's an avocation if you're an artist, an entertainer of some sort. It's not just that, I'll do this for 15 minutes every night and so forth. No.
Right.
So most likely then you're going to be doing something on times that you would normally have off for your personal life.
To relax.
Yeah. So what do you make an hour at your regular job? Now consider this actually to be overtime. That's time and a half.
That's right.
Then you've got your supplies and everything else. So what actually truly goes into it to come to that dollar figure?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you bring that up because it's important.
It is. And, even when it comes to the visual arts, what's a canvas cost? What does a tube of paint if it's acrylic?
Yeah.
What does a brush? How many brushes do you have, for instance?
I have about 50.
Okay. They're probably not 50 cents or a buck?
No.
Okay.
I only have a few cheap ones. So, there's a lot of money invested.
Yeah.
For sure.
Easel?
Yeah. Easel. Yeah.
Easels?
I actually have 3. So.
Okay. Yeah. Those things, all of that has to be combined in.
Yes.
So when you get to the point that, you've done this to be nice, that you would love to be able to give away art.
Yeah.
But by the same token, in many ways, you have given of your time now.
Yes.
For that purpose, you and Edward, and looking forward to a great show with DakotAbilities.
Oh, me too.
And wait. I just think that's going to be such a great thing.
Yeah.
And we'll. So there's 32, right?
I believe it's 31 or 32.
31 or 32
That was
pieces.
the last thing I heard.
That's awesome. And is it all spin art like Eddie does?
It's all spin art.
It is all that. Okay.
We had to he went in and set up his machine, that cool machine that he built. And
I call it, what you see at a carnival on steroids.
Yeah. We had to have something that was somewhat quick to get that many people through.
Right.
And that was a nice opportunity for them to pick their colors, kind of give some direction and something that they could manage, because a lot of these people are in wheelchairs and so forth. So we had to figure out something that was going to work that was manageable and wouldn't take an hour to produce.
Yeah. So it looks like they got to wear some fun smocks, too, to keep the paint off.
Of course, Edward had his fun smock on. Yeah.
That's a piece of art in and of itself, you know? I see that every time. It's like, that's cool.
Yeah. And it was so great that he gave up his time like this, because he really did sacrifice a lot of mornings and a lot of time.
And so we get to see all of that on April 1st. What time will the doors open?
5 o'clock till 9 p.m.
5 to 9. So you got 4 hours, everybody. Bring those checkbooks.
Yes.
Visa, MasterCard, Discover, all taken too?
Yep. We have a Square, so we just take whatever. Yep.
We got this.
Yes. We do
and we're looking forward to making a lot of money for them.
Yes.
And also a lot of pride in that for all those people that took part in it. And then the month after that, it's going to be for 211 for the survivors of abuse. And then we'll get back to regular showings of local artists coming up in June.
Yes.
Anything else going on for you?
Just in case they don't know the address, it's 120 North Phillips. It's between 8th and 9th Street on Phillips. We're just north of the Phillips Hotel.
Yeah. And you'll also kind of see... let's see, it's Holiday Inn across the street, right?
Yes, well, it's kind of kitty corner.
Kitty corner,
yes. Wells Fargo and the Wells Fargo parking lot is right across from us.
That's right. Really, the parking lot's in between everything, isn't it? Okay. So you can find your way down there, and it's also within walking distance of our good friends over at Wood Grain.
Yeah, that's right.
That's how my wife will end up buying something.
Yeah.
So go to Wood Grain first and go over, let's get that.
Yeah. That sounds perfect.
No, actually, no, David, we don't have room. But we look forward to it, and it's going to be great. Always we've asked this question before with you in terms of what you like to do when you're not part of the art scene.
Yes.
What is it that you want to have other people know about April VanLeirsburg?
I'm obsessed with volleyball.
Oh, goodness.
So I play pretty much year round. I'm too old to play, but I play it anyways.
You ever play out at Chasers?
I haven't played there. You know what? I might have subbed once.
Okay.
Yes, one time I subbed out there. But I love it. It's, it's your anger management. It's your girl time. It's a little bit of exercise. It's great.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right. Well, again, thanks that you were able to fill in. I'm glad it all worked out just the way it should, that we could get it, because I didn't want it to be that all I got to do was just on the show say, hey, don't forget we've got this coming up and so forth. But I wanted to have some time for you to tell everybody about it.
Yeah.
And I also wanted to make sure it wasn't just the day before the show.
Yeah, I really appreciate you promoting this.
Well, it's my pleasure to do so, because I always love to talk about arts and entertainment. April VanLeirsburg, thank you so much.
You bet. Thank you.
And we'll be back to wrap up the Dave Holly Hour in just a moment.
Sure, they have darts, and you've heard me talk about how ruggedly handsome the trivia host is, but all caps fun never stops at the Sky Lounge and Tea. And fun is best had with your friends enjoying live entertainment, as in live and local. Yeah, the Sky Lounge believes in giving you the best bands, solo artists, and comedians from the area. The Neo Johnsons, Elizabeth Hunstead, Skylar Volks, as well as many others. And a great staff will make sure you enjoy your fun at the Sky Lounge in Tea, South Dakota.
From the Dipsy Doodle Studios at the world headquarters of Big D Entertainment, a 40-square-foot home studio in the middle of America, it's Dave Holly.
Thanks again to my guest today, Mo Hurley. She is such a pleasure to be around. She'll make you smile no matter what. April VanLeirsburg, thank you for showing up to tell us about what you have going on at Van Arts Studio for the first Friday. The first Friday in April downtown does happen to be April Fool's Day, but don't let that fool you. It's going to be a great show. We're looking forward to that. Also, thank you to the man that put the R in our wine bar, Riccardo Terabelsi. And thank you for your listening, for the sharing. We are over 555 likes now on our Facebook page for the Dave Holly Hour. We're well over 8,000 downloads now. So thank you. It really puts a smile on this old guy's, on me grin, Anyway, What are we doing tonight? Going to Goodnight Theater Collective's Binge-Worthy Cabaret. Then Sunday, taking in the matinee for Old Town Dinner Theater's I Hate Hamlet. Coming up on the show next week, image consultant Sheila Moore Anderson and members of the Insiders Band. That's going to do it for this week. Remember, I'm Dave Holly, and for me, every day is a holiday.
The Dave Holly Hour has been brought to you by the Sky Lounge and Tea, XL Chiropractic, Quality Nails, Ale Hop Brewery Tours, and Jesse Moppet Entertainment. If you would like to contribute to the continued success of this podcast, go to DaveHollyHour.com. At the bottom of the front page is the additional links section. Click on the orange button, Dave Holly on Linktree. You can order merchandise, become a Dave Holly Hour VIP, and make contributions to the show. The Dave Holly Hour is produced in the Dipsy Doodle Studios by Big D Entertainment.
Thanks for listening.